from the grasp, like I think we've covered advertising in a whole, and I think it's fascinating that we've had four different advertising agencies speak, and we've had four, everyone has similar concepts but different approaches, and we now see how we must round out, like I think here the offer and what you showed us about how to fine tune an offer is so valuable. So now we're going to move into the other side of advertising, which is the on-site conversion and the retention and the loyalty. We're going to talk about that with Jonathan Biggs from Amasa. So I'm going to promote Jonathan now, and Dipesh, we will see you later. Thank you so much. You're muted, but I can hear you, or I can see you.
Cool.
How you doing? Where are you at? It looks beautiful there.
Yeah, we're up here in my hometown, Arcata in Humboldt County.
Okay, right on. Awesome. I'm in Oakland, so not too far away. How's the smoke treating you from the fires?
I'm not seeing too much here. It's not very bad. We're pretty close to the coast here, so not really as affected as inland.
Okay, we're getting hammered. The sun, it looks like I'm on Mars basically if I go outside. So.
Yeah,
but anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and show everybody, conversion rate optimization at its finest.
Awesome, cool. So gonna go ahead, share my screen. Alrighty, so today I'm gonna go over kind of how media buying is only 30% of the puzzle. Think you guys got some really great content and hopefully some tips and tricks you guys can implement from that side of things. But once you get people onto your landing page, what do they do there? So that's really what I'm going to concentrate on my talk today. So I'm John Biggs. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Amasa. Like I said, I'm up here in Arcata, California. Most recently got notoriety from a Netflix documentary, Murder Mountain. Not sure if anyone saw that, but I played basketball in college as a walk-on at Cal Poly. And just personally, I've spent over $10 million on Facebook between eCommerce and Legion. That's not really what we're here to talk about. Our agency's the performance marketing arm of DFO, which is an international affiliate network. And we specialize in scaling 6 to 7 figure monthly ad spends. And we have our own in-house and creative team that does all our dev as well as all of our ads. So today I'm going to talk about the conversion rate optimization, how you can improve your average order value and lifetime value, as well as some retention and additional monetization strategies. So first off, we'll start with the conversion rate optimization. So things I'm going to kind of go over today are things to look for in your own funnel when you're building a new one. But at the end of the day, I always say you want to test everything, assume nothing. So a lot of these are kind of proven strategies, but they don't necessarily work on every offer. So you always want to make sure you're testing it against your controls so that you're not shooting yourself in the foot. So a couple tools that are really useful for when you're doing conversion rate optimization. Kind of the gold standard is VWO, Visual Website Optimizer. And then also Google Optimize is another one. I like VWO, it just gives you a lot more control. You always want to have a heater or click map tracking any traffic on your website so you can kind of see how people are interacting with your page. One that I don't think many people talk about is user testing. Usertesting.com is a place where you can basically have people, it's like an unbiased opinion where people go through your funnel and your landing pages and give you feedback from real users. Page load speed testing, I'm going to be harping on this quite a bit throughout this. So basically with any of these tools, I'd suggest using one or two so you get different ways they all run their tests in a different manner. And then for doing readability tests on your pages, I did a link here that'll kind of tell you the reading level that your web page is at. So kind of the main things everyone kind of already knows about and have already heard about for testing, multivariate or split testing, or your headline, your hero images, the button color, and the call to action. These are definitely the ones that will have the biggest impact right away. So that's kind of where I would always start with your testing. But there's so many other pieces of the puzzle that you can test and that can have a big impact on your conversion rate. So to kind of dive into those, like I said, the page load speed, that's a huge one. I'll be going into detail on that in the next couple slides. But since about 90% of the traffic that's going to be coming to your website is going to be on a mobile device, that's where you should focus most of your efforts. So within that, you always want to make sure, and I see a lot of a lot of web pages or landers that people go to, and this is a mistake, they don't have a call to action above the fold. So if I come to your landing page and your ad did such a good job of selling me and I'm ready to buy, I shouldn't be going through and searching for your web page, because who knows, I might get a text and then, I get distracted. So you want to make it as easy as possible. And then as you're scrolling throughout the page, another thing that can help get people to click through, if you sold me as I'm going through the first couple viewports, you can have a sticky call to action button either at the top or the bottom. So you always want to make it as easy as possible for being able to click through to your checkout, or if you have some sort of product page after your lander. And then I mentioned the readability score. Typically you want to search for getting the readability on your webpage between like a 5th to 7th grade level. Like 50% of the people in the US at least are up to about an 8th grade reading level. So if you have a web page that's readability scores up at a high school or college level, you're really missing out on a lot of the users that are there. That's not really going to resonate with them. And a lot of landing pages and demographics that come to offers nowadays, especially through Facebook, are kind of skewed towards an older demo. So just want to stress the importance of increasing your font size and making sure that your text has a lot of contrast between the backgrounds. If you have a light colored background with white text, it's going to be difficult for an older person to read that, especially if they have glasses. Other things that can help your click-through rates, if you have a pre-sale, for instance, is anytime that you mention your brand, having that hyperlink, to the next page, or your home page, depending on how your funnel works. Having whatever images throughout the page that you have on there, you can test making them clickable and going deeper into your funnel. This is something that I've seen kind of mixed feedback in terms of the conversion rate that it actually has versus the click-through rates. It'll increase your click-through rate, but they won't be quite as qualified. So sometimes those people will actually have a lower conversion rate at that point. And then something to test, I've seen really good success by adding GIFs to the checkout page, because it'll actually, you can use them to show like an unboxing, a how-to video on how to use it, and stuff like that. We've seen a 30% increase in our conversion rate on a checkout page just by adding a GIF up at the top. And something you want to minimize on any sort of a page is traffic leaks. A lot of times people have mentions in other publications, and they'll put a link to it, and then people go and you're basically paying to get people to your website, and then you're just letting them go right away. It's a funnel with a hole in it. So you want to minimize those traffic leaks. Like YouTube, a lot of other video players, they'll have embed options. So you want to make sure that you don't have it autoplay to suggested videos. Sometimes a competitor will have one that YouTube puts up. So you definitely don't want to be putting people, obviously, onto your competitors' products. Another thing that you can test is up at the top, similar to traffic leak, you can have them within your own website. So you're removing the navigation bar at the top where it has, your contact us, about us, all of those sections. Those are just things that can help distract people and click through on your website, or you just want to keep driving them down your funnel. So other things that can help are having Facebook comments or one of those FOMO pop-ups at the bottom of the page, or your PR mentions. Having all of that just kind of helps build social proof and trust with your brand. On your checkout page, definitely want to try and have some sort of a review or testimonial section. People are ready to buy, kind of the last thing they want is, I'm ready to buy this. What, have other people's experience has been. So you want to kind of make that easy for them to find and not go venturing otherwise for finding that information. Obviously adding trust icons and badges just kind of, increases that. And kind of an interesting one that we've seen with having installment payments like Afterpay, Klarna, Karma, is that it's kind of like another version of a trust icon. You might not necessarily have people taking a significant rate with installment payments, but it kind of adds like a trust icon. The fact that you do offer that, and a lot of those systems do have pretty rigorous requirements that you go through to be able to get on there. Adding a loading bar between your pages, saying like checking inventory and whatnot, kind of primes people for waiting for the next page to load. Having a countdown timer kind of gives a sense of urgency. And then, especially nowadays, having some sort of a charitable donation to some sort of a group or a cause is kind of something that can separate you from your competitors. If you support some sort of a group or a cause and a competitor they're considering doesn't, it might just be that extra act of good faith that makes people want to give you their business versus one of your competitors. So now kind of going into the page load speed, if you get people there and the page doesn't load within 3 seconds, Google found that like 53% of people are just going to close out. So no matter how good your landing page is and no matter how good your offer is, if they close out and bounce, it doesn't do you any good. So I know a lot of people rely on Shopify nowadays, which is a great tool, but it's kind of a blessing and a curse. You don't really have as much customizations that you can do. So kind of the easiest thing you can do to speed up your load speed on a Shopify store is remove any unnecessary apps. They're just bulky and they slow down how fast your page loads. Also kind of Shopify is limited when you do remove those apps. Sometimes it doesn't do the best of jobs of removing the actual code of those apps. So you always want to go into your page and actually right click and use the inspect tool and go to console to see if there's any errors being thrown, because there might be some extra lines of code that didn't get removed just from when you simply click remove on that app and delete it. And then if you host your pre-sales on a subdomain on your own server, that gives you a little more control on your server settings, as well as the ability for you to, if you don't want to do that, you can have a container you create on your Liquid theme, which would be hosting it through Shopify, but then you can kind of just have like essentially like an iframe on your Shopify page for hosting your own pre-sale without using one of those bulky page builders that you can get through Shopify. So this is probably the page that might be a little too technical. So if you don't have an in-house dev, this might be something that's good to just copy and paste and send over to them. If you're using one of those speed test tools like Pingdom, GTmetrix, stuff like that, you want to analyze those. They do a really good job of kind of telling you what suggestions you should do to speed up the time. One of the really helpful things is just looking at the waterfall breakdown they show, because that'll actually show you the actual document or the image or the file that's taking the longest to load. It'll stick out like a sore thumb. And so go through that. Couple quick things that I can just tell you are enable server caching. If you have control over your server settings, you want to minimize the HTTP requests, because that's sending basically your website to the server to get information going back and forth, which slows down the time. You don't want it waiting. And a lot of times people will just have an individual JavaScript file for every one of their scripts. So a simple way to reduce your HTTP requests is just throw them all into one file and do the calls to that one file. Usually you don't really want to see much more than 100 HTTP requests. You can adjust like your header rules so that you can only get it crawled by a web crawler every 30 to 60 days. Don't want that going every day. Pretty common one that people know, I hope at least, would be to minify all your scripts. You don't really want to have your images much larger than 10 megabytes. So I'd always go through getting those compressed. A tool that's kind of the gold standard for that, and just compressing your pages is gzip. So I'd check that out. And then earlier I kind of mentioned YouTube. Don't want to be too big of a hater on that, but it's the slowest of the pages or the video players on pages. So I suggest moving over to either Wistia or Vimeo. And really the most powerful one on this slide, I think, is actually this last point here, where you lazy load videos and scripts that are below the fold. So at least when I come to your web page, it's going to load all of the different pieces. You want to make sure that the stuff that's above the fold, what I first see, loads first, and that, if I have scripts or videos lower on the page, I'm not going to know that page isn't actually loaded fully if it's just lazy loading below the fold. It basically just defers loading it until the people actually scroll down lower. And then next we're going to go into improving the AOV and the LTV. So easiest way to increase your average order value is just charge more. So if you're not split testing your price points on your products, I suggest that you go through and just test 2 or 3 different price points on that. Another thing is having some sort of a cart bump. A couple ideas for that is having some sort of a mystery item on the checkout that they can add, or bundling, offering a couple other additional units at some sort of a discounted price. I feel like most people know about them, but not necessarily everyone utilizes them, is some sort of a post-purchase upsell. So just simply adding something after you've already captured their payment, just adding something to add on, which will obviously boost your AOV there. Having expedited shipping, obviously you should have some sort of a margin there. So having a faster shipping, you can tack on a couple extra bucks there. A really powerful one's having a free shipping threshold. So free shipping on all orders over $99. If I have a product that's priced at $91 and then I have an add-on that's another $15, it'll help you kind of get more of a higher take rate on those add-ons so that they get a higher AOV. You can add some sort of a lifetime or extended warranty that they can opt into for $5.99, $9.99, something like that. Having some sort of a subscription or a continuity that you build into your offer, that's really going to increase your LTV. You obviously have to worry about different types of merchant accounts and getting approved to support that. But, if you have something where either you get something shipped monthly, like a month of the watch club, or, get some random gift or something in the mail monthly, get maybe free shipping on all future products that you order, kind of like an Amazon Prime is a good example there. Another way, you can build some sort of a challenge, like a 30-day challenge. And if you have different bundles and higher priced packages, build that challenge around the higher priced items. That'll kind of increase how many people are taking that. And then a simple one that'll not only give you some feedback, but also maybe make a couple extra margins here, is that you can have a survey where you just kind of survey them on their buying experience. Was this a good buying experience? Yes or no? Like fill out our survey and you'll get a free gift. And then you just basically can get a cheaply priced item and do a free plus shipping offer where you just have some margin baked in. So you get a couple extra bucks there. So here's an example. We had a client that didn't have a post-purchase upsell. So in March, we added it. And, they got an extra $93,000 just by simply adding, we used Reconvert as the Shopify app. We added that. And it brought in almost $100,000 of extra revenue this year. So, obviously that's something everyone would like to have. And then lastly, going to start going into some retention and additional monetization strategies. So going back to Prime, Amazon's they made up their own fake holiday, an Amazon Prime Day, right? So it's something that any brand can do and kind of brand their own day to run that. And these next kind of 3 or 4 sales here are all things that I've had success running these to our existing customer bases using Facebook offer ads. So they're a limited time offer, run an anniversary sale, thank you, customer appreciation, run them to your existing customer base. And you'll usually get some really good returns, because you've already built trust and hopefully starting to build up the brand awareness within them, and, hopefully get some of their friends. They'll buy a product for the friend if they had a good experience. So it won't necessarily just be for themselves. And the most powerful point on here is Facebook groups. You run your ads from a fan page, but you don't necessarily feel like you're part of a community by doing that. That just enables you to run ads. But if you create a Facebook group, you can have a community where you have like-minded individuals, people that are engaging and commenting and discussing your brand. You can drop new releases in there, special offers. If you have any ideas for like running some sort of a new product or bringing in a new offer, you can drop a questionnaire in there and get some feedback from your customers. So it's a great way to interact with your fan base and get feedback that, instead of putting dollars behind a test, you can just go straight to them and interact with them. It's kind of like an email list that you get free impressions to by posting in there. And I've ran some tests where you just basically post to your page and then drop the post in the group, and you can kind of build some social proof on those posts prior to going live on them. So yeah, I think it's a hidden gem there is the Facebook groups. And we ran back in June, we did our own version of a Prime Day. We did a buy 2, get 3 free sale. So we did a little over $300,000 in the weekend. We extended the sale an extra day into the Tuesday and did $327,000. So that was really good. And just take a look there at 45% of the returning customer rate. So really good retention there. Some additional monetization strategies that this is kind of the stuff I don't think many people do, and I think it's something that everyone should look into, are doing either thank you page referral traffic, where you basically, after your thank you page where you have your confirmation order and your shipping and all of that on there, you'd have either an offer for congruent products, maybe you partner with other brands, or just have other ways for maybe lead gen or something, figuring out some other way to kind of put the traffic and see if you can get some additional revenue from that. With email lists, there's companies that actually do list management, and it'll run basically all your traffic to your existing list, and they should be able to monetize that for you. stuff we've done with our clients is we use DFO's affiliate offers and have them run those, whichever ones applied to their email list, they would run. And we've had some great success with that. And you can obviously try and reach out directly to brands yourself and see if you can do some sort of a JV and rev share, emailing each other's lists and seeing if you could bring in additional revenue that way. And then in terms of like clients, when you're running this and you're looking at your email list, kind of like a rule of thumb, if you're doing a really good job, you should be able to generate an extra $1 at least per active email subscriber per month. So as you're building up your email list and obviously building your own brand, that's a lot of additional revenue that you can bring on, especially if you're doing it in a smart way. So one of our clients, we had a success story with our offers in the last 14 months. Once they implemented this strategy, they've brought in over $1.2 million straight off of monetizing their email list with our e-com offers that resonated with them. So kind of the tactic for that was testing several offers and some sort of a listicle, and then building out whichever ones resonated best with their customer base, building out individual offers for those. So really powerful. And obviously that was a game changer for that client. And as part of, tuning in today, if anyone would like a free CRO audit, we have some members on our team that'll go through and check all the stuff that I mentioned today and give you a nice little report of some things that you can, implement immediately and help you in whatever way you need there. So go check us out, drop your info in there, and we'll be able to take a look at that and hopefully help you out.
I love it. And I just dropped the link here in chat. Oh man, on that additional monetization strategy, actually hinted at, we're going to showcase the brand partnership tool that CRO just launched for Shopify merchants. It's a game changer. I'll tell people about it now, but I want you to attend our session tomorrow with David Perry, the CEO of Viral, which runs CRO. You're talking about like cross-promoting and cross-selling and affiliate offers of other people's product. With this tool, you can actually just take your partner, add their product to your site. You could even create a bundle with your product and their product, or an upsell funnel, adding their product directly into your store and in transactions. And then from there, you're able to just sell their products, and they fulfill automatically. The transactions are happening in your Shopify store. It just works for everyone. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, and I know you're a little hating on Shopify, definitely from the page speed load time. I feel you on that. And all those tips that you just gave people are pure gold. And what I loved about your presentation is you literally gave people, I would say, an infinite amount of work to do. So here are all the things you got to do. And I know we didn't go into tons of details on each of the incremental things, but we've actually had a lot of other sessions that have covered some of these. So if you guys just go to our YouTube page and kind of scroll through there, you'll see we've had sessions on price testing. We had Order Bump talk about that checkout purchase, add to cart, getting one more item in the cart. And we've seen the post-purchase upsell work really well as well. We've had Phoenix Commerce talking about displaying shipping options and showing like when the product's going to be landed and offering better shipping. So everything you talked about, I think, is brilliant, and we can get people to cover that in another session somewhere on if they want to go like follow the exact step-by-step guide. So thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And yeah, I definitely recommend applying for the CRO audit and seeing if your store is maybe leaving some money on the table, because odds are I've looked at over 100 stores in the last year and talked with merchants. I've never not found a store that didn't have all of the opportunities taken advantage of. I've seen 2 or 3 that were close, but not 100%. Like I've seen 2 or 3 where it's like, wow, you are doing a great job, but here is something you haven't tried yet. But yeah, thanks again, Jonathan, for your presentation. We're going to move right into the next one.